we moved into the topic of intuition as our theme, revealing our spiritual truth. And Ernest Holmes wrote, "We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God." Anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with that indwelling God. So what he means is that we don't need to have an intermediary to give us answers, to tell us what Spirit wants to express through our lives. Because we are individualizations of that one divine thing, we come fully decked out with a mind that is our use of that greater mind of Spirit. We come into this lifetime fully equipped with intuition and a spiritual nature that are always unfolding the highest truth of Spirit within us. And when we recognize truth spoken by another person, what we're really doing is we're recognizing that we already have it within us, because we couldn't see it in what someone else is saying if we didn't already have it within us. It's our nature as spiritual beings to recognize truth when it comes to us. Yet for some reason, throughout the ages and across religions and cultures, there has been this phenomenon of people seeking out someone that can reveal truth to them. Shamans or gurus or oracles or priests, popes, even modern day therapists. And it's not that any of that is wrong or bad, that seeking out wisdom wherever you find it is a good thing. But somehow humanity has been conditioned to believe, I think, that the truth is outside of us. That we must seek it out, and that it can only be revealed by someone who is maybe more spiritually elevated than us, or who is wiser, more in tune with Spirit than we are. Through my entire life, I kind of balked at that idea. I was a little bit rebellious about that. I didn't think that anybody should be able to come between me and Spirit and what I know of Spirit, and that they certainly shouldn't be able to tell me what is the truth for me and the truth for my life. And I proclaimed that for myself over and over again throughout my life. There is no one that needs to come between me and the divine. And yet, I have at times been stubbornly skeptical about my own ability to be what Holmes called a revealer of truth, my own intuitive capabilities. Last week, Steph talked about her experience of being a revealer of truth. And she talked about the energy that she feels moving through her. And she talked about experiencing herself as being a conduit for a higher truth, for messages from Spirit or messages from her higher self. And as she was talking, I kind of looked around the room a little bit, and I noticed that there was some people in the room that were really deeply resonating with this idea of being a conduit for that truth. And I thought, wow, how awesome it is that these people resonate so much with that idea of being so in tune with their intuition. And then at the same time, I thought, I wonder if there's anybody else in the room who's a little more like me, who questions, who's skeptical about their intuitive ability, who's a little less confident about their own intuition. And in fact, I would say I am downright skeptical at times. I am downright skeptical about my in-tuneness with that goes on around me. The Spirit, the voice of Spirit that comes through me. Perhaps I have been allowing myself to be more affected than I thought by those traditionalists that say that you need to go to someone to receive that truth. Perhaps I've allowed myself in some way to believe that Spirit isn't speaking through me. Because while I know so clearly, always, that there are other people out there that have these amazing intuitive capabilities, I don't always know that for myself. The voice of my higher self sometimes doesn't seem quite as strong or confident as that voice of that doubting inner critic that says, who do you think you are? You really think that you're some sort of mystic? You know what's going on out there? And sometimes those urges of my intuition are a lot easier for me to ignore than all the shoulds that I've placed in my life. You know, like when my gut tells me I should sit down and write something because there's something powerful that wants to come through me right now, but I look over and see there's a pile of dirty dishes in the sink. Maybe I should just do those instead because I should do the dishes, right? I should. I sometimes also look at others and I see this powerful intuitive capability. I look at them and I say, wow, that person is intuitive. That person has this gift of allowing that wisdom to come through them. That person is a conduit, a channel for truth. But all the while, what I'm really doing is I'm living in the comparison. Because underneath it, maybe I'm saying, they can do that, but not me. I can't be that. So I don't know if this resonates with any of you. Maybe I'm just talking to myself today, but hopefully it'll resonate with somebody. So the thing is that even though I have at times had that kind of questioning, I've denied, downplayed, disregarded my own intuition, it still shows up. It still shows up for me, and you know, it can't help but show up for each one of us. And the reason is because I am part of the divine mind. I am one with spirit, so whatever is known in that mind of spirit is presented to me, whether I believe that or not. It shows up for me because I can't separate myself from that. I am that. And so I get to work on it. I get to spend my life learning how to be aware of that, to be able to get a clearer and clearer glimpse of that revealer of truth that is the truth of who I am, even if I'm at a loss to explain it sometimes. So I was trying really hard to think of how a skeptic like me can explain how to tap into one's innate intuition. And I was sitting in our spiritual room where I have a couple of decks of oracle cards that I go to now and again. I like to work with them, I like to play with them, especially when I feel the need to kick in my intuition. I like to have that tangible way of working on my intuition. So I was sitting there, I thought, well, wouldn't that be kind of funny or maybe even a little ironic for me to write this entire talk based on a card reading when I'm coming from that place of being a skeptic? And so, because the irony of that amused me, I decided to use my oracle cards for today's talk. So, you might think that going to oracle cards is just like going to those things that are outside of you, right? That it's trying to find something that's outside of yourself. And there was a time in my life when that was the truth, where, years and years ago, where I would run to my oracle cards at every decision I had to make, thinking that maybe, somehow, some way, these cards were going to give me the answer for what I should do. But I've learned over time that that's not really the case, because it's my wisdom, my inner wisdom that asks the question. It's my inner wisdom that knows which cards to choose. And it's my inner wisdom that interprets them. I can get the same card for 4 different answers or 4 different questions and find different answers within that card because it's my inner wisdom that's looking at the card. It's not the card that's doing anything. So, I sometimes go to these cards when I'm feeling a little bit disconnected from my intuitive abilities because I always can trust that by using a tool like my cards, I can find a way back to my own intuition. And I see them as being a tool, similar to affirmative prayer is a tool, or affirmations are a tool, or meditation is a tool. These are just one more spiritual tool that I have in my spiritual toolbox. So here I was wondering how to talk about inner wisdom, and I decided to pull some cards to help me with that. And it was a very interesting process, let me tell you. So, the very first card I got, and these are from 2 different decks, I use both of them interchangeably. So, first one I got is called The Singer of the Chalice. And the chalice is all about being open to feeling all of those expansive feelings. And so this first card reminded me that intuition is a feeling, and that in order to be in tune with your intuition, you have to be in a place of trust, of joy, of love, of peace, of compassion. All of those expansive feelings are what opens me up to that revealing of truth within me, to that intuition within me. So I was wondering, as I was looking at this card, well, how do I open myself up to those emotions? If my heart is feeling particularly shut down, if I'm feeling fearful or angry, how do I open myself up to that? And the answer that came with this card was that all I need is a willingness. That I can't ever be completely closed off from those feelings of joy and peace and love, because I am an individualized piece of spirit. And that is what spirit is. And so as long as I have just the tiniest bit of willingness to open myself up to that, spirit finds the way through. Because that's what I am. I am that. I'm an embodiment of that. So the next card I picked was called the Angel of Relaxation. Isn't she pretty? And she says, let go of desired outcomes and you will get what you want. And so this card reminded me that the reason why I don't always feel so connected to my intuition is because I try to force the outcome to be how I want it to be. You know, I look at the way Steph feels her intuition moving through her with that whoosh of energy coming through her, and I say, I want to be that. I want my intuition to come that way. Or maybe some days I really do actually want to hear the voice of God coming from the heavens, telling me what I should do next, or answering my deepest questions, or whatever. Or maybe sometimes I want to see some sort of a bright, shiny aura illuminating whatever the correct choice is that I should make, and perhaps a little angel choir could come in the background too, and you know, give some background soundtrack to that revelation. I look for a sign. Did I ever tell you guys about the story of the sign? I don't know if I have or not, but I'm going to tell you now anyway. So there's some new people in the room. You guys get to hear it for the first time, if nothing else. So when I was in Kelowna, in ministerial studies, I had some sort of a decision to make, and honestly, I don't even remember what the decision was, but I was really stressed about it. And so I was just saying, universe, come on, give me a hand here, help me out, give me a sign. And so I was kind of living in that place for a little while, and so the Sunday morning came and I was in service at the Center for Spiritual Living in Kelowna. I was working the book table, and I'm in that place of still, universe, come on, help me out, give me a sign, give me a sign. Well, I look up, and there, across the lobby, on the welcome table, beside the pamphlets and the sides of my magazines, is my sign. It's an actual sign. It said, please help yourself. Because spirit has a sense of humor. See, outlining just doesn't work, or at least it's never worked for me. When I outline how the wisdom is supposed to come for me, when I say, no, it has to come this way, not that way, really what I'm doing is I'm trying to control something that is so beyond the control of my ego mind. There is infinite wisdom, and there's my tiny little ego mind in there. And if I want that infinite wisdom, I can't make it happen with my tiny little ego mind. So this card reminded me that I just need to let go of the outcomes. I need to surrender and relax and allow my intuition to flow naturally to me, just trusting that it will come in whatever way is the right and perfect way, and in whatever time is the right and perfect time. The next card I chose was this stunningly beautiful card, the Angel of Joyfulness. And this card was my reminder that wisdom and a revelation of truth and intuition comes when we are in a place of joy and gratitude. Just like that first card told me to have a willingness to be open to those more expansive feelings, this one reminds me that when I'm in a place of joy and gratitude, it allows me to be present. It allows me to be right here and now, in the moment. And this is integral to accessing intuition. And I'll give you an example of this. I've noticed for myself that when I am in a deeply heart-centered conversation with another person, that I am probably more in the moment in that time than at any other time in my life, because I'm so focused on really hearing what that person has to say. And from that present moment focus, I have such a much clearer awareness of those intuitive nudges that come to me than at any other time. And why is that? It's because intuition requires open and expansive attention to the present moment. It requires it. Do you notice when your thoughts aren't in the here and now? I do for myself. I notice this. For instance, if I am worrying about how something I say will be perceived, then I'm in the future. Because it's a will be. It hasn't happened yet. It's not happening right now. I'm worrying about how I will be perceived. That's in the future. I'm not in the present when I'm in the future. Or if I am thinking and mulling over and replaying in my mind how I've been hurt or felt angry or felt dismissed by somebody when I've spoken what's my truth or what's on my heart, if I'm in that place, I'm in the past. I'm in regret. Well, when I am in the present moment, if I am truly present with what I'm doing, there can be no regret and there can be no worry. Because if I'm truly present to what's happening in me and around me right here and now, then I am allowing myself to be in the moment of joy and gratitude that is right now. And that opens me up to intuition in a much, much wider way. It opens up to a whole other level of awareness when I'm in that place of joy and gratitude in the present. And those intuitive nudges then come so much easier. So then the last card that I chose is a very powerful card I find for myself. She's the goddess of sacred power. And it kind of surprised me when I pulled this one. Because it never occurred to me until that moment how much of my personal power I have disowned at times in my life when I have doubted my own intuition, my own inner wisdom. This card reminded me that I need to own my intuitive nature, that this sacred power is given to each one of us, and it allows us to know the truth for ourselves, through ourselves. We have that within us. This card told me that I need to stop looking to the intuition of others to give me answers, because that is giving away my power. It tells me to stop comparing myself to this person or that person and their intuitive abilities, because that is dismissing my power. And to simply trust that all the wisdom, all the revelation of truth that I will ever need is already within me. And that doesn't mean that I can't go and speak with people and I can't go and receive and give support. What it means, though, is that when I hear the truth coming from something, when I hear a revelation of truth in the people that I speak to, that I am recognizing that that truth is already within me. That is my sacred power to know that and to own that. When I question or doubt my ability to reveal truth for myself, what I'm really doing is questioning the Creator's ability to speak through me. And I'm living in a belief in separation. I'm living in a belief that I am not that I am apart from that. but I know that I am not separate from that wisdom of Spirit, that wisdom of Creator. That wisdom that created me is revealed within me every day, every point of every day, every moment. So it's time for me to stand in my highest self and to know that Spirit is speaking through me. And just as I also know that Spirit is speaking through each one of you, we each own that power, we each have that power. This is what Holmes was talking about when he said that we each have the ability to be a revealer of truth, so long as we live in close contact with that indwelling God. It's that indwelling divine, the divine that is a part of me, that is a part of each one of us. Eileen Caddy wrote, "Cease trying to work everything out with your minds. It will get you nowhere. Live by intuition and inspiration, and let your whole life be revelation." Our lives are the revelation. We are the revealing of Spirit in our lives, in our circumstances, in our experiences. We are revealing the magnificence of Spirit in the wondrous and amazing and fantastic individuals that we are, each and every one of us. So through the willingness to be open, through releasing cherished outcomes and surrendering, through being present, joyful and grateful, and owning our power, we can each live that life of revelation that we are. So I thank you for being here today. And I honor you, and I love you, and I bless you. Namaste.